Adderall, Tylenol 3, Dapsone, that's an antibiotic, that was for the rash. Citalopram was for mood, valacyclovir, that's cold sores. I had cetirizine, just because I was allergic to everything.
Hi, everybody. It's very, very cool to be here. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and it's been super fun to meet people I've only seen on social media, which is strange. Today, I'm going to talk about specifically how to use the carnivore diet to treat people who are really, really ill. Okay, I'm going to get started. That's an old picture of me, but I was already carnivore. That's last year. That's my daughter. So I'm Michaela Peterson, mother, blogger. I manage my dad, and I was formerly dying, but I'm not anymore. This works. So I went over this a bit, but I used to be really sick, and I want to talk to people who aren't just using the carnivore diet to get like hotter, but to get like healthier. So that's specifically autoimmune disorders and mood disorders, but also, fatigue, skin problems, like a cracky jaw, like whatever. Okay, so age 2, I had symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis, so I was just walking funny. My parents used to put me on their shoulders, and when they put me down, I cried, and it was like cried and sat down. So something was going on with my hips as early as age 2. When I was 7, I was diagnosed with arthritis. I had 35 joints that they could tell were actively inflamed. I had most of them that year injected with cortisone, so that was the first surgery, like they put kids under general to do things like cortisone shots. So that was age 7. Age 8, I was the first kid in Canada to be put on Enbrel. So I was taking methotrexate, naproxen, Enbrel, which is a biologic drug. Methotrexate's pretty intense too. That was age 8. Age 9, I started exhibiting more symptoms of depression and anxiety with OCD tendencies. That had started around grade 1, but by the time I was in grade 5, it was severe enough for me to be medicated. So I was put on an SSRI when I was 10. At 14, I started getting tired and itchy. So that happened just over a winter, and it was like mosquitoes everywhere itchy, but there was no sign of anything. And I was sleeping a lot, but I was also staying up late, and it was really hard to tell if it was me being lazy or if it was fatigue. And I battled with that and with my parents for the next 5 years with the fatigue, because it's hard to tell when people with like invisible problems are sick or whether or not they're just being lazy. And it's hard for them to tell too. And I can tell you, like, if you don't want to get out of bed in the morning, something's wrong. It's not you being lazy. Age 17, hip replacement. So I was told at 16 that I would need a hip replacement before the age of 30 because of the state my hip was in. And in the next 6 months, it got so much worse that I needed a hip replacement then. So that's my healing picture. It was intense. That's my hip replacement, which has actually done really well. The same year, I needed an ankle replacement. So after I got my hip done, my ankle cartilage just disappeared. So that's the left side, just like bone on bone. That was a terrible year. That's the ankle replacement. So that was 17. So things were not improving, even though I was on Enbrel, methotrexate at this point, Cipralex, and OxyContin for an entire year because of that pain. So I went to university at 19 because I needed to take an extra year of university because of all the school I missed, which made me really angry. But I went to university, and then things went downhill like really quickly because my diet went from like healthy whole grains but meat, and like we ate organic, and like my mom was trying to be healthy, to surviving off of noodles. And things got really bad in university. I gained weight. My mood was just awful. I went completely nuts. I kept trying to fix my antidepressants and try and like an SNRI, which went really badly. I went up on Wellbutrin high enough that it gave me a seizure. It was a rough year. So then I was like, okay, I can tolerate this. I'm slowly gaining weight, but like I can handle this. And then it started to hit my skin. So I'm gonna really go through some skin pictures so you can see what I was dealing with. But it started hitting my skin, and doctors were telling me, you know, you're doing it yourself, stop. Because I kept going and saying, my skin is like dying, what's happening? And they're like, well, stop scratching. And I was like, you don't understand. So I'm in doctor's offices, I'm like crying, and they're like, well, you're crazy. I was like, okay, this isn't working out for me. So this is what started to happen. These are some not fun pictures. That's me looking puffy and really unimpressed with life. So when I was 22 and like my prefrontal cortex had mostly grown in, I started researching because I realized like how sick I actually was. When you're a kid, you kind of just like go along with things. You don't realize. I was like, oh, arthritis. That seems like something that's embarrassing, but whatever. But at 22, I was like, oh, this is actually killing me. So I started researching, and I started with the skin problem because I was like, okay, I'm gonna have depression for life. I'm gonna have arthritis for life, but I really don't want my skin to look like that. So it was like a vanity thing, and I was like, I can't handle all these symptoms plus the skin symptoms. So I went through like hundreds of papers on skin disorders, and eventually, after a really long time, I came across a celiac rash, which is a gluten-caused rash that causes itchy blistering. And I had never equated these skin problems with the itching I had started experiencing when I was 14. So I got that, and then I went like down the road into gluten and realized that that is really not good for your gut, just for everybody, but specifically for people with the celiac gene. And I had my genes done, and I have the celiac gene. So I cut out gluten. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. These are some of my medications. Some of them are doubled up, but it was like Adderall, what's on here? Adderall, Tylenol 3, Dapsone, that's an antibiotic, that was for the rash. Citalopram was for mood, valacyclovir, that's cold sores. I had cetirizine, just because I was allergic to everything. Enbrel was for arthritis, Advair is for asthma, Seasonal, that's birth control. I don't even know what Teva Ciprotroni is. Vyvanse was something to take along with the Adderall to keep me awake. Yeah, it was a lot.